Welcome to China Showcase. I'm Brian Yang. I'm the Senior Editor for Informa Business Intelligence, Asia Pacific. Today with me is Ravi, and Ravi is in charge of the external innovation for Merck Group. And welcome to China Showcase, Ravi.
Thank you.
Could you tell us about external innovation at Merck Group?
Sure. So Merck KGaA, Darmstadt, Germany, as you know, is responsible for healthcare, life sciences, and performance materials. In the healthcare division, there is a focus on identifying novel opportunities that help drug discovery, drug development, and clinical development. And so there are therapeutic opportunities that are being identified in immunology, oncology, and immuno-oncology. But at the same time, we are looking at novel innovations, game-changing technologies in the sector, and especially being in Silicon Valley, which is the birthplace of a lot of information technology and tech companies. What we're trying to do is leverage that capability that's there in Silicon Valley to combine that with what we need for drug discovery development. So I'm responsible for biopharma external innovation here in Silicon Valley, looking at those novel opportunities.
Ravi, you just mentioned the IO, the immuno-oncology, which is a very hot area. When you talk about IO, as we know, the Merck KGaA has an alliance with Pfizer on one of the immuno-oncology assets.
Right.
And what are some strategies or particular areas are you looking for in terms of partnering?
So while we do have a relationship with Pfizer for avelumab for immuno-oncology, but what we're also interested is identifying other partners for various other assets that we have, not only in the phase 2, but also in the phase 3, with either partners who have a drug development pipeline, who have the infrastructure and capabilities, as well as funding to be able to take this all the way to the market. Because as you know, there's so many oncology companies out there with different therapeutic ideas. So the challenge is to be able to bring something that will reach the market and help the patient. And as you know, drug discovery and development is very expensive. And so it costs $2 billion, takes a lot of time. So what we're trying to do is establish those partnerships with companies that have the interest in this space, in oncology, immunology, whatever, and bring that together so that it can reach the market.
Would you mind telling us about some particular assets or something you're looking at, or therapeutic area? What type of cancers are you looking for at this stage?
So we have a number of assets in the phase 2 and phase 3. We have a number of oncology assets as well as immunology assets. In the immunology area, we have drugs for lupus. That is a very hot area that is unexplored, and there are no drugs actually on the market that are very effective in this space. And so we have a lupus drug in phase 2, and we are at the stage right now to raise money, $100 million to $200 million from investors all over the world, to be able to take that molecule all the way to the clinic as well as to the market. So it's an exciting time right now, because not only are we hastening the progress of these assets through clinical development, but at the same time trying to bring in novel technologies that can help increase the speed to market.
And how about immuno-oncology area? What are some trends or some areas are you focusing on right now?
So there's a number of therapeutic modalities within immuno-oncology that we are looking at. As you know, immuno-oncology is a very hot area. It's been around only about 5-6 years. 6 years ago, immuno-oncology didn't even exist. Nobody even knew immuno-oncology existed. But now the trend has become so much that there's hundreds and hundreds of ideas. The challenge is to be able to develop some of those which will actually reach the market, because the cancer, the cancer cell finds ways to overcome the body's drugs and overcome the immune attacks in order to survive. So whatever compensatory mechanisms the cancer cell has, we are trying to overcome them by the different therapeutic modalities.
And when you're looking for partners, what are some criteria or are you looking at?
So we look for mainly development partners. We look at, because we've already reached the stage where we've demonstrated proof of concept in the clinic. Of course, all the in vitro, ADME, PK/PD, tox, everything is all done. So we are at the stage right now where you have to demonstrate benefit to the patient. We have clinical trials already loaded. We have the drug molecule available, which is mainly a monoclonal antibody or things like that. And so what we're looking for is somebody who can come and partner with us, provide some investment capital, provide their infrastructure and expertise to speed its reach to the market.
And Ravi, would you talk about how some particular areas you recent partnerships and or when you come here, and what are some stages for some of your assets?
So here we are looking at a number of different things. We're looking at externalization of some of the assets. Like I mentioned before, we've got phase 2 assets, phase 3 assets that are desperately in need of money in order to progress. So we are talking to a number of investment bankers, not only in the US, but also global in China and other places, which is why I'm also here at the China Forum to meet with those investment groups. We're also looking at early stage technologies that will bring in those ideas in oncology or immunology that we can add to our pipeline. Plus, we're also looking at various technologies, whether it's gene editing technology or cell culture technology or cell manufacture technology or manufacturing antibodies in a single cell that's very efficient, that will produce a functional antibody all the way to the market that's very cheap and effective.
And Ravi, what have you discovered so far from China, talking to Chinese investors or some developers from China?
So there is a lot of interest. We have talked to many of the leading investment groups in China. While they are interested, of course, the key thing is that they want to make sure that we have intellectual property for China markets available, and most of our molecules have that IP protection for China, so that any Chinese investor could invest in our assets and they would be able to get China rights for the molecules that will be developed. So that way it'll benefit not only the Chinese population but also the global population.
And what differentiates Merck Group from other multinational drug makers in terms of partnering with the local investors or the local drug developers?
I think what differentiates the Merck Group is that we are a mid-tier pharma company. We are not huge, so our processes are very quick, they are nimble. You can get through the process very quickly. The decision-making process is streamlined. Of course, it's German streamlining process has helped very much in this process. We have R&D groups in Boston as well as in Darmstadt, and the efficiency of that process has made it very easy. Plus, because we are mid-tier and we are focused on oncology, immunology, and immuno-oncology, we don't have cardiovascular, we don't have CNS, we don't have ID, we don't have anything else. So there's a focus on therapeutic areas, the speed at which we can develop the relationships, and the interest in the organization to make a difference. And the last thing I will add is that we are extremely focused on digital therapeutics. So we want to bring in that digital component to it. So we are looking at artificial intelligence, AR, VR, all those things to help drug discovery development.
And if you can, what are something you noticed unique to China or the Chinese environment in terms of partnering?
So a few things that are available in China are the fact that you have a huge clinical base. You can identify patients who are naive or patients you can recruit patients really quickly. As we saw in Greg's talk, $43 billion is available and ready for investments in early stage opportunities. So there is money, there is clinical, and now we've also heard that the Chinese FDA has become more open. The regulatory authorities are becoming aware of approval process. And so if all those three things fall in line, then it may benefit not just China, but everybody else.
Thank you so much,
Sure.
Ravi.
Thank you.
Good luck.